Mar?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Souza and Mayor Pro Tem Asmundson, for your work. I appreciate it, but I do have some questions. We received this amendment to the ordinance shortly before 6:30. Why was this not included in the council packet when it was delivered to our homes?
Because we prepared it a half hour before the meeting. We thought about it over the weekend, and me and Ruth discussed it, and then we came and met with Kelly at 5:30 this evening and proposed language that you see before you.
I certainly appreciate that you've done that, but I do question whether or not we've given people even here who wish to speak to the council who were not prepared for these changes, and perhaps people at home who haven't had these changes presented to them. I think the council should be very eager to take public comment tonight, but I question whether or not we should take action tonight. I wanted to ask you...
Councilman Haystack, I would also state that there are copies in the back of the room.
Absolutely.
And we just read it into the record, too.
Absolutely, you did. I have a question that regarding your comments on the Personnel Board. Are you saying that the Personnel Board is the appropriate body where citizens should lodge complaints against city employees?
It's the appropriate body for individuals within the city lodge complaints against individuals in the city government.
Well,
It's complaints by a city employee against management or work that they're doing as a city official under the guidance of city officials, is my understanding.
the Personnel Board is there so that if there's a personnel action against one of the city employees, if there's a complaint against a city employee for either because they're not doing their job or for an outside person that involves some kind of discipline with the employee, that is the hearing body where the employee can have a hearing on whether or not they should appropriately be disciplined for their conduct, whatever their conduct might be. And so that's the only, that board is set up as, as an adjudicatory board because it deals with complaints against city employees, but through the context of the personnel system. So it's not a board where people come in, people out from outside the city, if they had a complaint against an individual city employee, they would lodge that complaint in the manager's office, at the HR department, with whatever department they happen to work in. I mean, there's lots of ways to lodge a complaint. That complaint against an employee would then go through a process which could culminate at the Personnel Board, which are generally hearings that are not open to the public because they deal with whether or not the particular individual employee should be disciplined or not.
And that was my understanding of the function of the Personnel Board. So I will ask the subcommittee, what relevance does the Personnel Board bear to what we're seeing tonight, changes in this civil rights ordinance? Why do you bring up the Personnel Board if it's not otherwise a body that is open to the public?
If there is a discrimination complaint against an individual in the city from an employee within the city, that would be the vehicle that they could use to adjudicate the issue. They are not in alignment.
Okay. Did the subcommittee, I asked Kelly if the subcommittee had accessed the minutes from the council deliberation on the original ordinance, and I don't know, did that play a role in your decision to recommend what we're seeing before us tonight?
No, it did not. In fact, I only read it this evening also. I got them, and I got the minutes from the many meetings that the council held over a considerable amount of time when they were deliberating of the ordinance. I actually also got, I don't know if we all got copies of it, the action of a vote of the citizens to actually reject the ordinance that actually failed back in 1986 also.
That's right.
The 1986 minutes really didn't show us anything. It's just the action that was written in the minutes. There was no discussion. We can't find a discussion on on that motion.
I respectfully disagree with you on that point, but I will ask, regarding the changes proposed by the subcommittee, I wanted to ask the city manager, where would you be providing referrals if people filed a request with the city to investigate or mediate their complaint?
A lot of it depends on what the nature of the complaint is.
Do you have some ideas as to where we would refer people to?
I think they've been mentioned this evening, the various options that are available.
Okay.
just ask a question in that follow-up? For some reason or other, we weren't provided with a copy of the actual ordinance. I could find it, but we weren't provided it in the staff report. And if I recall, so I don't have it in front of me, but if I recall, reading the ordinance, they explicitly said that, yes, they can Human Rights Commission can investigate and mediate, but it would not provide material for court action, right?
Well, the actual language of the existing ordinance is the same as what you have in the staff report, and it does provide that it's not, that filing a complaint with the Human Relations Commission is not a prerequisite to filing a civil action, and the findings and conclusions are not admissible in the civil action.
Right, so it's just, it's investigation and mediation doesn't have only one definition, right? Investigation,
Correct.
if you look up in the dictionary, it means to investigate, to inquire as to the facts and gather facts, right?
Right, well, that's what I was trying to get, that's what I was trying to say. I mean, there's different kinds of investigations,
Right.
and there's different kinds of proceedings. And, an investigation to come forward to have a community forum is a different kind of investigation than an investigation to try to adjudicate an individual's complaint against another individual, or an individual's complaint against the city or a city employee. That's, people use the same kinds of words with different
Right.
meanings.
Or to investigate and mediate informally could be very different from investigating and mediating in a way that's binding in a court of law or something like that, right? It
Well-
seems as if questions have been asked that imply that we can't do what's in the ordinance, but we've done it for 20 years, right?
What we've done, I think you've done we've done parts of it and not other parts of it. I think that we've had, issues come forward to Human Relations. People, we've had public forums where people have given their, given their testimony, and the Human Relations Commission has come and made recommendations or held forums and the like. I don't know that the Human Relations Commission has ever been in a position where it's actually taken an individual complaint and tried to come up with the answer to whether that individual complaint was, what should happen on that particular individual complaint, as opposed to it being a larger issue and what the community should do in relationship to the issue that has come before them.